They say regret is the heaviest thing a man can carry. And they're right. I've carried mine for years. It started with a single missed call. Just one. Funny how something so small can change everything. I remember the moment clearly. My phone buzzed on the table beside me, but I was too busy, too tired, or maybe too proud to pick up. I told myself, I'll call her back later. But later never came. That's the thing about time. You think you have more of it, until it runs out. My name is Daniel, and this is the story of the call I didn't answer. Before that day, I thought I had my life figured out. I was living in the city, working long hours, chasing promotions, chasing everything except peace. My mother and I had grown distant, not because we stopped loving each other, but because I started believing I had better things to do than talk. You know how it goes. The quick replies, the unanswered texts, the "I'll visit soon" that never happens. She'd call on Sunday mornings. Sometimes I'd answer, most times I didn't. And when I did, it was short. "Mum, I'm busy right now." "Okay, Daniel," she'd say, her voice soft, almost disappointed. "Just checking on you." And I'd reply, "Yeah, I know. I'll call you later." But I rarely ever did. I thought love didn't need constant proof. I thought she'd always be there, waiting, patient, understanding. I thought wrong. She was a simple woman, the kind who found joy in little things. Her morning tea, her small garden, her favorite gospel songs on the radio. I remember once she told me, "Daniel, one day you'll understand that peace isn't found in noise." I laughed it off. I was young, ambitious, convinced that peace was for people who'd given up on life. But now, I'd give anything to hear her say those words again. If I could go back, I'd pick up that call. I'd tell her I love her. I'd tell her I'm sorry for all the times I thought success was more important than presence. But life doesn't give do-overs, only lessons. And mine began the day she called. And I didn't answer. It was a Thursday. Funny how I still remember that. The sky was grey, like it already knew something I didn't. I'd just come home from work, exhausted, irritated, half alive. My phone lit up on the table. Her name flashed on the screen. Mum. I stared at it for a second, then I looked away. I told myself not now, I'm tired. I watched it ring. Once, twice, and then it stopped. The call I didn't answer. 5 minutes later, my phone buzzed again, a voice message. I didn't play it. I don't know. I told myself I'd listen in the morning. Morning came, but she didn't call again. Instead, I got a different call, a strange number. I almost ignored it. But something in me said pick up. "Hello, is this Daniel?" "Yes, who's this?" "This is Nurse Helena, from St. Mary's Hospital." Daniel's voice fades low. "Your mother was brought in earlier tonight." I froze. I didn't say anything for a few seconds. Then she said, "You might want to come now." Everything after that felt blurry, like walking through fog. The city lights outside my car window looked dimmer than usual. I don't even remember the drive, just the sound of my heartbeat in my ears and that thought repeating in my head. Why didn't I pick up? Why didn't I pick up? When I got to the hospital, the smell hit me first. Antiseptic, cold. The nurse recognized me instantly. She didn't need to say anything. The look in her eyes said it all. She led me down a long hallway, her shoes echoing softly against the tiles. We stopped at a door. She hesitated before opening it. That hesitation told me everything I didn't want to hear, almost breaking. And then I saw her. My mother, peaceful, still, like she was finally resting from a world that had been too loud. I stood there, unable to breathe. The room was silent, too silent. I whispered, "Mum, I'm here now." But it was too late. I remember reaching for her hand. It was cold. I held it anyway, hoping maybe she'd feel me somehow. I told her all the things I should have said before, that I was sorry, that I loved her, that I never meant to make her feel alone. But she couldn't hear me anymore, and in that moment I realized something. We spend our lives waiting for the right time to say the right words, and sometimes that time never comes. It was 11:43 p.m. The rain outside had grown heavier. Each drop against the window sounded like guilt knocking on my conscience. My phone sat on the table, screen cracked, battery at 2%. And there it was, a single missed call from Mom. You know, sometimes we ignore calls because we think there'll be another one, another time, another chance. But life doesn't always hand us another. I remember that day clearly. I was exhausted. I had just come back from work, my head full of deadlines, my heart full of pride. I saw her name flash on the screen and thought, I'll call her back tomorrow. Almost guilty. Tomorrow, the one word that has broken more hearts than lies ever could. But tomorrow never came. The next morning, my sister called. Her voice trembled, barely a whisper. Daniel, Mom's gone. Gone, just like that. No warning, no goodbye, just silence. I stood there for minutes, maybe hours, I don't even know. My mind replayed that missed call over and over again. What did she want to say? Was she in pain? Did she just want to hear my voice one more time? And I was too busy. The next few days felt like a blur. I went through her things, saw her old notes, little reminders she used to write. Daniel, don't forget to eat. Daniel, wear something warm. Daniel, I'm proud of you. Then a shaky breath. She loved me in every small way I never paid attention to. But that one call became the loudest silence in my life. I kept asking myself, why didn't I just pick up? Why did I think work was more important? Why did I assume she'd always be there tomorrow? Maybe because that's what we all do. We think the people who love us the most will always wait. We take their patience for granted until it becomes a memory. It's been a year now. Every night before I sleep, I stare at that old phone. The screen doesn't light up anymore, but her name still glows in my heart. And sometimes, I imagine answering that call. I imagine hearing her say, Daniel, I just wanted to hear your voice. And I whisper back into the darkness, I'm sorry, Mom, I'm listening now. If you're listening to this, don't wait. Don't assume there'll be another chance. Call them now. Answer while you still can. Grief doesn't come all at once. It sneaks in quietly, in smells, in places, in memories you thought you buried. It had been 3 months since the funeral when I decided to visit the old neighborhood, the one Mom loved so much. She used to say, Daniel, no matter where life takes you, don't forget where you started. As I walked down that street, everything felt smaller. The bakery where she'd buy meat pies every Sunday still smelled the same. The woman selling oranges under the big mango tree waved at me. She didn't even recognize me at first. I guess grief changes your face. Then I saw it, the little wooden bench outside our old house. Her spot. She'd sit there every evening, sipping her tea, watching kids play, smiling at everyone who passed. I sat there for a while, pretending she was still beside me. For the first time in months, I didn't cry. I just listened. To the wind, to the world, to the silence. And in that silence, I could almost hear her say, Daniel, you're doing okay. It wasn't real, I know, but maybe some things don't need to be real to bring peace. Later that day, I went by her favorite church, the one she never missed on Sundays. The priest recognized me immediately. He walked up slowly and said, She always talked about you, son. Said you were her biggest blessing. Blessing. Funny word, isn't it? Because when she was alive, I thought she was the one holding me back. Calling too much, worrying too much, caring too much. But now, I realize she was the only one truly holding me up. As I left the church, I stopped by the notice board. Pinned there was an old picture of her at a community event. Bright smile, wrinkled eyes, heart wide open. She looked happy. And it hit me. She didn't need a big life to feel fulfilled. She just needed love. That night, I went back home and sat by the window, the same way she used to. The city lights flickered, and for a moment I felt her presence. Not in the room, but in the peace I felt inside. Maybe she never really left. Maybe love doesn't disappear when someone dies. It just changes form. It becomes the quiet voice that reminds you to keep going, to be kind, to call home. So, I made her a promise that night. I'd stop running from the past. I'd start living like she taught me, with kindness, with gratitude, and with love that answers every call. It was a quiet night, the kind of quiet that makes you hear your own thoughts. And I was tired of running from mine. I sat at my desk, Mum's old phone lying there, screen cracked, battery half dead. It still had her name saved in my contacts. Mum heart emoji. She used to call me every single night, and I'd roll my eyes like it was a chore. Now, I'd give anything to hear that ringtone again. I didn't know what I was looking for, but I opened the voice recorder app, and then I pressed record. "This is for you, Mum," I whispered. "Hey, it's Daniel. I know you can't hear me, but I'm sorry. Sorry for every time I ignored your call. Sorry for every time I told you I was too busy. Sorry for every time you said I love you and I replied with silence. I thought love was about grand gestures, buying gifts, saying the right things. But you showed me that love is patience. Love is checking in. Love is being present. You never needed much, did you? Just a few minutes of my voice, and I couldn't even give you that. But I hear you now, Mum. Every time I wake up and try again. Every time I help someone the way you helped me. Every time I look at my phone and remember that missed call. I answer it, not with words, but with how I live. I've started volunteering again at the church. The priest says I look more like you every day. Maybe that's the universe's way of saying you're still here. And I'm learning to cook that awful stew you used to make. It still tastes terrible, but it smells like home. I don't know if heaven has phones, but if it does, please don't stop calling, okay? Because this time, I promise I'll answer. And thank you, Mum, for never giving up on me, even when I gave up on myself. He saved the recording. Then he titled it, "The Call I Finally Answered." Sometimes, the calls we don't answer never stop ringing. They echo until we learn to listen. The next morning, I woke up before sunrise. It was strange. I hadn't done that in years. The world felt still, like it was waiting for something. Or maybe waiting for me. I packed a small bag. Inside it was Mom's scarf, a single white rose, and my phone, the same one that once ignored her call. It's funny how grief makes you notice small things. The way morning light hits the kitchen counter, the smell of old teacups, even the dust on the windowsill looks familiar. I drove down to the cemetery just as the sun was rising. The sky was painted gold and pink, Mom's favorite colors. When I reached her grave, I didn't cry. Not because I wasn't sad, but because, this time, it felt like she was right beside me. I laid the scarf gently on the grave, then placed the white rose beside it. "Hi, Mum. It's been a while, hasn't it? I recorded something for you last night. I don't know if you heard it, but I hope, somehow, you did. I'm doing okay now. I'm working again. I'm eating properly. I even laugh sometimes. You'd like that. Oh, and I still burn the stew, by the way." I sat there for a long time, just listening to the wind through the trees. It almost sounded like her humming. That same tune she used to hum when she washed dishes, soft and comforting. And for the first time since she left, I didn't feel the need to run away. Before I left, I pulled out my phone and played the recording. Her grave was silent, but in my heart, I felt something shift. A quiet peace, like the call had finally connected. As I walked away, I whispered one last thing. "I love you, Mum, and I'll keep answering, not just your call, but life's call." Sometimes we don't realize how much someone means to us until the line goes dead. But love, real love, never hangs up. It waits until we finally learn to answer. There's an African proverb that says, when a person dies, their shadow still walks beside those who remember. Which means the people we lose never truly leave us. They become the voice in our hearts, the warmth in our silence, and the reason we learn to live again. Tell me in the comments, have you ever ignored a call or message and later wished you hadn't?